my people in the house. Good to see each and every one of you guys, everybody that's visiting. Pleasure and a treat to have you guys in our presence as well. To everybody online, Shabbat Shalom. Let's get into it. I wanted to touch on something. The title of this Shabbat's lesson is The Marathon Continues. The marathon continues. All right. Go to Hebrews chapter 12. Young man got killed at the age of 33. Goes by the name of Nipsey Hussle. And I know it was something that shook up a lot of people, definitely here in the city of LA. I know within the Hebrew community, there was a lot of raw emotion, a lot of commentary, a lot of opinions, so I kind of wanted to touch on that. I think it's our duty, to chime in when it's something that happens that's as impactful, and put things in proper perspective, most high willing. All right. So let's get into it. Hebrews chapter 12, and let's start at verse 1.
Book of Hebrews 12, verse 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us.
So the Bible says, remember the title of today's or this afternoon's lesson is The Marathon Continues. So the Bible says, let us run with patience. With patience. One of the things that I've seen in my life, and I'm not that old, but I'm a little older than some of y'all, 38 years old. One thing that I've seen people get impatient in this run. A lot of times we call it a walk. Yeah, because it's so far of a distance, you stop running and you start walking. But the Bible calls it a run. So read that part one more time.
Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us.
So the Bible says we ought to be laying aside those things that weigh us down and those sinful ways. Go ahead.
And let us run with patience the race that is set before us.
Let us run with patience the race that is set before us. We got a race. We got a marathon. You know what a marathon is, right? A marathon is an extended race. You got a long distance to go. It's not what you call it when they run the 40. It's not a sprint. This is a marathon, a long distance race. And it's necessary for us to be what? You got to be patient when you run in this race. I see a whole lot of people get out of sorts over various different things that happen. And we began to lose our wits about us. We began to speak more from an emotional standpoint versus coming from a what? A spiritual perspective. All right. Go ahead and read.
Verse 2. Looking unto Yahushua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Most High.
So it's crazy, man. It was a lot going on concerning this brother. I've definitely heard a lot of his music, and I liked a whole lot of his music, man. I thought the brother was very uplifting on a lot of the stuff that he was putting out. Although I also got to keep it real. There was, certain things obviously in the music He let it be known his affiliations or whatnot. But overall, like I said, I definitely have had good things to say about the brother. It came into question whether or not this brother was an Israelite. Mind you, we're the same people who are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Same ones that regarding us, Yahweh Shai spoke on, and he said, wheats and tares. He said, I don't want you getting rid of the tares because you might mess around and pull up some wheat, right? Well, look at his father. Well, we don't know, all right? What happens a lot of times within the Israelite community is simply this. You get so focused on things that you can't control and you can't determine that you forget the importance of the things that you should be doing. You forget how important it is to continue to run this race. You forget how important to make sure that you examine yourself and make sure that you keeping these commandments. And it began to get unprofessional, ungodly, unnecessary on social media as it began to play out. Different people with their opinions, a lot of vainglory, people feeling like they have to, drive home. And then there was also the situation, which I want to touch on. Everybody had a theory as to what they, not just believed happened, but they told you this is what happened, and especially when you're an Israelite and we're being held accountable, because the scripture also says we're going to be held accountable for every idle word that proceedeth out of our mouths. We can't afford to give false information, and we can't afford to speak on things that we do not yet know of or don't have an understanding of, right? So read that one more time.
Hebrews 12:2, looking unto Yahweh Shai, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Most High.
We forget about Yahweh Shai and what he did, and this is no knock on any man. I get it. Grieving Nipsey like they grieve Pac. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy both of their music. I get it. But remember, we got to keep our eyes on what? Right? Yeah, all we can do is pray mercy for their soul right now. We got to focus on this right here, on what Yahweh Shai did, so that we would be able to get that baton to continue to run this marathon. Go ahead and read.
Verse 3, for consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be wearied and faint in your mind.
See, that's the thing. When we lose focus and we stop thinking about what's going on now, we stop thinking about the things that we should be thinking about. We lose focus on our King, right? And we looking towards others. We put ourselves in a position to become weary and faint. You see a whole lot of people in this walk, and you start feeling like this walk is a bit redundant. Maybe it's not enough excitement. And you see people starting to lag, and then people begin to slowly fall off. I'm just going to take a little breather. And that breather turn into an extended rest. Before you know it, they out the race. See, one thing that I do know about a marathon, yeah, you may have the first person that crosses that line in that marathon who is looked at as a winner, right? But everybody that finishes and eventually crosses over is looked at as what? As victorious. It's the ones that don't finish that lose. So are you going to finish this race? Go ahead and read.
Verse 4, ye have not resisted unto blood.
See, you ain't even resisted unto blood yet. You might not say it out loud, but I know a whole lot of Israelites. You're getting tired, you're getting weary in your walk, you're saying certain things. What's going on, Doc? And you're feeling like it's too much. But he says, look, hold on, let me pull your coattail. He said, you haven't even resisted unto blood yet. He said, this run right now is not exciting enough for you. But hey, when you get to a certain point in this race, he said, you're going to wish you was way back then when it was all nice and you had a breeze. You gonna wish it was that part of the race when you got to stop for a second and get a little swig of Gatorade. He said you're gonna wish for that. A lot of y'all want to be so much further in the race and don't realize what kind of obstacles are coming your way. Yeah. It's a whole lot harder when you're tired to fight. It's a lot harder to run, jump over hurdles. How many of y'all play basketball? When we played basketball, we did what? Suicides, right? I'd rather run than do suicides. For every time you had to touch that line, it took so much out of you. At first, you young, you ain't tripping. Then you start realizing, like, man, it don't seem like that much, but me having to exert my whole body and reach down and touch that line and focus on touching that line, it's taking a lot out of me. We don't realize that. But go ahead and read.
Hebrews 12, verse 4. Ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him.
Go ahead.
For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth.
Whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth. He chastening the children of Israel. And he chastening us. It don't feel good when you getting that butt whooped. It don't feel good because a lot of y'all, you used to hustle. Man, it's real talk. I used to be like, man, I need 3,000. I'm going to get it this weekend. And I get it. I'm like, where did that go? I'll be struggling to make 20. I'm like, how in the world did I lose that kind of control? Some of y'all feel like that. You like, man, it was easier back then. It's like ever since I've been in this truth, like how we was when we came out of Egypt. It was better back in Egypt. You get that mentality. The Most High say, look, you in my realm right now. I need you to go through some things. I need you to be without. He said, I need you to finally understand that you got to fully submit yourself because you are no longer in control. Because when you was thinking you was in control, you had Satan right there. You wasn't as in control as you thought you was. As long as you wasn't steering in the right direction and you was steering over here and you was reckless and destroying other lives, it was cool. It seemed like you had all of the freedom in the world because you wasn't a threat. Now all of a sudden you going in the right direction and you can't maneuver how you want. You got to stay on the straight and narrow. Now all of a sudden you starting to feel some type of way. Well, I'm in this truth. Why in the world am I having so many issues? Marital issues, relationships, money issues. Why is it so hard? It's a part of your race. Don't get distracted. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth.
Go ahead.
If ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not?
But see, that's the thing. A whole lot of us, we don't like getting whooped. You don't like getting whooped. And what's going to happen? The Most High said, well, if I can't whoop you, that's like my mom used to say, you can't bring your child in my house if I can't whoop him. That's my mama right over there in that corner right there. And she meant that. She was for real. She was like, if I can't whoop your kid, you can't bring him in my house. Straight up. And that's how the Most High feel. You ever just encounter some bad kids and make you feel some type of way about their parents? Most High said, if I can't whoop you, then do what you gonna do. We got to be willing to accept that. A lot of times when we hear something about ourselves, we don't really want to hear it. But you got to decide in that moment to say, you know what, I deserve it. Let me listen. Humble yourself, lower yourself. Instead of, chesting up and feeling, all right then, I heard you. That ain't a humble spirit. Most High don't want to hear that. But go ahead and read.
But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons.
He said you're going to go through things. He said, I'm whooping you. I'm refining you. He said, I gotta put you in the furnace so I can purge you and take out the impurities to make you the fine gold that you once were. Nah, it ain't gonna feel good. But it feel good after you refine and you got all of that mess out. It feel good to be a honey. But go ahead.
Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live?
So he's saying, a lot of y'all, you don't want to be corrected now as grown folks, but you had some type of father figure that whooped your tail then. You was cool with that. But now all of a sudden, you don't want to take no correction. You don't want to take a correction from a leader, a brother that's been set as a leader. He said that ain't right. If nothing else, you definitely need to take that correction from the Father of all fathers. He said, because you're going to get that correction. He said, because he trying to make you right so that you can be a father to others. You can be a mother to others. How you going to be a mother or a father and you ain't got the basics? You ain't got no discipline. Because one thing that I've learned about a father and a mother, they've got to have some kind of discipline. You can't run a household and rule a household if it ain't some discipline in that house. It can't be a free-for-all. Go ahead.
Verse 10. For they verily for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure. But he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness.
Go ahead.
Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Because
the things that we go through, that's how we gain. In the world, we say character. But that's how you become esteemed in wisdom and you gain prudence. And then you began to grow and bring forth fruit. Others are blessed by your example and by your works, by your sacrifice. That's what it's about. Go ahead.
Verse 12. Wherefore, lift up the hands which hang down and the feeble knees.
Because a lot of y'all, I'm going to keep it 100. I'm going to talk regular with y'all tonight. Up in here, in True Nation, headquarters, I'll be seeing a whole bunch of heads hung down. And I'll be seeing a bunch of feeble knees. Why? Because we forgot what we got right here. It's that old saying, you don't miss your water until your well run dry. See, it's water flowing in here right now. I always had that water. I ain't tripping. It's going to be there till that one day where that water ain't there. You don't want that day to come, right? You better appreciate that water you got. You better lift your head up and you better get them knees unfeebled and prepare yourself to really focus on building. Because right now, a whole lot of us, we ain't in building mode. We in cruise control. We just coming. I got to come a Sabbath. I was here. I done fulfilled the law. But other than that, you ain't doing nothing. You wear your fringes and that's about it. It's more than that. So we got to work off our salvation with fear and trembling. Right? Said the harvest is plenteous, but the what? The labors are few. It's a whole lot of people that ain't putting their hands to the plow. We could get a lot more done. Go ahead and read.
And make straight paths for your feet. Lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed.
He said you got to make sure that you make a straight path for your feet. Check yourself, because a lot of times we start going in this direction, we going in that direction, we focused on that over there, we overly focused on that, And we forget about this right here, right? Forget about this. Go ahead.
Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord.
So the Bible says follow peace with all men. A lot of people, they get conflicted. You come into the Hebrew culture, right? You be watching the videos, right? You get introduced to the YouTube videos and see a bunch of Israelites cussing out Edomites and calling them devils and dogs. And, you know, that's what it becomes to you, right? Kiss my shoe, right? Then you confused. You don't know how you're supposed to act in your workplace. I'm gonna just call it like it is. I don't care who. You ain't got a title big enough, because I'm gonna come with this word. But then the same people, a lot of times, that'll make it seem like you supposed to be, you know, just like they say, super blood, super crip, you super Hebrew. I ain't. Then when you need to sign that line on that insurance, or you need something from Esau, I guarantee you be professional in the mug, don't you? You shake their hands behind closed doors when you need to, when it's to your advantage. That's called being a hypocrite. I'm not saying go out there and make Esau your friend, not at all. But I ain't got to play the game. I'm gonna hate him with a perfect hatred, like David said. It ain't nothing for me to say, hey, how you doing? Peace, if at all possible, live peaceably with all men. Just how Solomon had to move, right? He had to get things from other lands, the lands of his enemies. So he made alliances when he could. When they weren't to make alliances, then they did what they had to do. Even of the heathen, you see where David even had a Amalekite that was one of his soldiers. Get wise. You got to read. Blessed is he who readeth. You got to rightly divide the word of truth. So now we ain't got to go and act like we doing something like, oh, we always on 10 when we seeing our enemies. Nah. And that's what bothers me, because you see a whole lot of that perpetuated on social media. Everybody get to be something that they never could be in the real world. You ever seen a real one for real in real life? You like, all right, he a real one. Then you seen that one that you can tell he's a square. You can tell he ain't really with the business. But then when you see him on social media, he got all this vibrato in his voice. He got all this rah-rah. Just from seeing him on social media, you think he the baddest nigga in the world. Am I lying? That ain't what the Most High about. That ain't what this truth is about. This truth is about being authentic, being real. And we got to make sure that we taming that spirit even when we on social media. So a whole lot of people be real reckless on social media, especially when you in a whole nother state, and whatever's happening in one place ain't gonna necessarily affect you, but you ain't being mindful of what's going to affect those brothers that's in that state, right? So we dealing with this right here in LA. All right. It would be best for us to deal with it wisely, right? Okay. Go ahead and finish reading up.
Verse 14, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord.
Go ahead.
Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of the Most High, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled.
Because see, that's what happens. You get all kind of problems that begin to spring up when we don't exercise that, when we feel like we got to go. Some people, man, they literally go and try to find a place where all of the Edomites they could possibly find to get good footage to teach. When the scriptures say, do what? Go amongst your people. Show your people their transgressions. We ain't even supposed to be worried about the enemy right now. This is our time for us to build. They could care. That's the crazy thing. Your people be more butthurt about what you're saying. Esau can give a doggone about what we talking about. He's enjoying heaven still. Once he get back to his community, he ain't got to see none of our black and brown behinds at all. He's not tripping. You might have one or two that have their little moments, but the majority of them, they drive by and they smirk. They're like, man, it's still our turn. While we talking about we got next. He said, it's still my turn. I got to keep it 100. Tell it like it is. So they're not even tripping. So why would we give our energy to him? It ain't time to get that energy to him. When it's time to get an energy to him, this is the energy I want to give him. I ain't got none of this for Esau. I don't have none of this for my enemies. I got all of this. And if I'm too old, then I need my sons to be ready with this. And I'm going to make sure I'm a good strategizer so I can tell them how to do what I need them to do. And that's what it is. We in a day and age where we got to raise up boys that are going to be soldiers and warriors and that are willing to die for this, because that's where we at right now. The writing is on the wall. It's real. Go ahead and finish that off. I just need 16.
Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. He
said, don't get caught up and be like Esau, meaning what? A whole lot of our people end up giving away that birthright for the foolishness. He said, man, focus on the race. Focus on the marathon. Go from there. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 9. Ecclesiastes chapter 9. We're going to get 11 and 12, and then we're going to jump up.
Ecclesiastes 9, verse 11. I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift.
He said the race ain't to the swift. We always think the one with wheels gonna win the race. I got my money on him. But this ain't a sprint. The swift, he could probably take that sprint all day long, but he ain't gonna take that marathon. I done seen some fast ones, and then I done seen ones that was built for that marathon. I got a cousin, and he was just built to run. He sure as heck wasn't the fastest, but he was just built as a runner, a long distance runner. And one day, man, I made the mistake of trying to keep up with him. Felt like my legs was going to fall off at the end of the day. And he barely broke a sweat. He was built for it, and then in addition to that, he trained. So we got to remember, the Bible says you got to know what kind of race you in. The race ain't given to the swift. Go ahead.
The race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong.
You think because you strong, you knocking people out. Yeah, you might knock some people out, but you're going to get in that one fight where he know how to defend himself, basics. And you can't land that knockout punch that you so desperately want to land in that first round or two. And then you get gassed out. You on cock diesel, looking big old swole. You missing them when you barely hitting them. You ain't clipping them. He rolling with the punches, keeping that chin tucked. Before you know it, you done gassed out. Now you going to them championship rounds. He said that's what kind of fight you in. Go ahead.
Neither yet bread to the wise.
He said neither the bread to the wise. Think that the wise man always gonna figure out a way to get that bread, not just the bread we eat. Let's talk about that bread right there. You think the ones that's wise always the ones that get it? It ain't always the ones that's wise. It's the ones that's connected. Straight up, you got people that can change your life in an instance, just because they know where the money at and they're connected. It's called network, and then that's on a spiritual level too. You think those are wise after the world are the ones that's going to get that bread. They ain't going to be the ones that get that spiritual bread all the time. Go ahead and read.
Nor yet riches to men of understanding. Nor yet favor to men of skill.
Go ahead, because it ain't even always a skill one. Go ahead.
But time and chance happeneth to them all.
Time and chance happeneth to us all, meaning what? At any time, any of us could take that L. right? But watch this read.
For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net.
Go ahead.
And as the birds that are caught in the snare.
Go ahead.
So are the sons of men snared in the evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them.
That's what happens. Unfortunately, that happened to that brother. Whether or not it was conspired, I don't know. I can speculate. I can sit back, get details as much as I can, and then try to figure it out from there, but I don't know, right? But one thing that you got to understand is, while we sitting on the sidelines looking at him and what happened to him, that brother's in the place right now where that ain't his focus no more. We still got to face this one day, right? It'd be best for us to get our work done while we still here. And remember that we got to continue to run this marathon, right? Go up to verse 2. We're going to read 2 through 6.
Verse 2. All things come alike to all. There is one event to the righteous and to the wicked.
He said to the righteous and to the wicked. One event. Go ahead.
To the good and to the clean. And to the unclean.
Go ahead.
To him that sacrificeth and to him that sacrificeth not.
Go ahead.
As is the good, so is the sinner. And he that sweareth, as he that feareth an oath.
He said you got all of these people, one that do, one that don't, one that has this, one that doesn't. He said, but they all still got one event. Go ahead.
This is an evil among all things that are done under the sun. That there is one event unto all. Yea, also the heart of the sons of men is full of evil, and madness is in their heart while they live. And after that, they go to the dead.
Everybody got to go. Everybody gonna die. And sometimes it's crazy because soon as somebody die, everybody, I just was thinking about them. I was gonna call. I just seen them. And everybody just, the same person nobody give a doggone about like a couple of days ago. Now all of a sudden they gone and everybody want to chime in. Everybody. Am I right or wrong? He said, but you don't even realize, man, you can be the next one. And everybody be like, oh, man, that was my guy. I had a special relationship with him. Look at the picture. But we ain't focused on the race. Go ahead.
For to him that is joined to all the living, there is hope. For a living dog is better than a dead lion.
Now that's a cold line right there. That's a cold line right there. A living dog is better than a dead lion. Which one you want to be? I think I would too. Go ahead.
For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not a thing, not anything.
They don't know what's going on. While you sitting up here tripping off of everything and not focused on living and what you need to do going forward, they in a different place now. And they not thinking about and worried about the things that you worried about at all. Go ahead.
Neither have they any more a reward. For the memory of them is forgotten.
And that's another thing. A lot of them people get forgotten about. People, they be talking about you to the funeral over. Then it's a big drop off. And you only go, y'all seen that one movie, the animated movie Coco? Yeah. That was low-key a deep movie. You remain, you can come back as long as somebody remembers you. And that's why it was important for them to keep the legacy, the memorial of their loved ones. And it's scriptural. But what happens is a lot of times we get so fixated on pop culture, right? No disrespect, because you can love someone that gave a contribution. I'm not knocking that at all. But we get so fixated and focused on pop culture. And we forget about all of the ones that really do touch us and pour into our lives that are immediately around us. And we forget about the contribution that we ourselves have made or should be making. It's a whole lot more we can do. Go ahead.
Also, their love and their hatred and their envy is now perished.
They ain't hating nobody no more. They ain't worried about that. They're in a totally different essence right now. Go ahead.
Neither have they any more a portion forever in anything that is done under the sun.
Go from there. Go to the book of Luke. Luke chapter 9. And it's crazy too, man. I'm not gonna sit up here and debate about, you know what I'm saying, the race of this brother. You know, you can go into the history of because you know people talk about he was Ethiopian, he was a Cushite. No, he was actually Eritrean. Well, who are they? Okay. Yeah, are there Israelites? Yeah, there's Israelites in Ethiopia and Eritrea, you know. But I'm not going to debate all of that because I don't know. Only the Most High knows. I know he wasn't keeping the commandments. All you can do is pray for that brother, right? Now, you know, with all of that being said, the brothers, I don't even think he probably realized what he did. Some of the things that he was putting out there, like the marathon, that was something that was speaking on a spiritual vibration, right? Whole mindset about running a marathon is where I got, you know, the title of this, you know, lesson from. A lot of our people don't realize again that we are in a race. And the whole point, the biggest thing that I got from his music when I did listen to his music was it was all about you picking yourself up and doing your part and going out there and making it happen. Right? But watch this. We so focused on something that the Most High is going to deal with one way or another, and we've lost focus on what we should be focusing on. Let's read Luke chapter 9. I want 59 through 62.
Luke 9, verse 59. And he said unto another, follow me.
That's what Yahweh Shai said. Stop. You can't follow after everybody else. I stopped following after Tupac a long time ago. That ain't a knock on Pac. Pac died at 25, I believe. 25. Huh? He was 20. I think he was 25.
No, he was 25. She was joking, saying he's still alive.
Oh no, he's still. I got stories behind that because I ended up dealing with a whole lot of his people. It was wild. Big Syke, who's now passed on, rest in peace. And many others that dealt with Tupac. But it was crazy because I remember I was in high school when Pac passed. And it was 96. And I remember from there and for many years, man, how I esteemed Tupac. Time went on. I made it to 25, all praise to the Most High. Then I went further. You know, I became 26, 27, 28. My mindset started changing, started living life even more and seeing things, losing people, right? Dealing with hardships, right? Your mindset changes. I began to realize this man that I was listening to, and I was so touched by his music, which he still touched me through some songs. But my mind at 30 was a whole lot different than what it was at 18, right? Then once I finally got into this truth, 2010, then my mind really went to a different level. And I realized, okay, man, I wish this brother would have got the truth because maybe he would have even been able to push this thing even further, right? And that's where I'm at. So I get it what people feel like when they suffer the loss of, you know, the brother Nipsey Hussle and how they thinking, because I remember what I was thinking when we lost Pac. I remember that. And I'm careful with that. I'm not going to come and say, nigga, forget him. It's not about that. But what I will say is this. I began to realize that, man, Pac was only 25. Imagine what his mindset would have been at 30, 35, 40. Imagine how much more he possibly could have accomplished, especially if he had gotten this truth. Right? So I start being able to put things in better perspective. So watch what the Bible speaks on, because we start following others. We following Pac, we following Nipsey. You know, we following the next person that's hot. We like the way the music make us feel, right? And the last person that we've realized that we following is Yahweh Shai. Yeah. Because we get pumped up. You know, that music make you feel some type of way. Hey. Make you feel some type of way when you, yeah. But I don't know, for some reason, it'd be hard for a lot of y'all to feel the same way about Yahweh Shai. Get a whole bunch of people at the visuals, you know, thousands upon thousands of people there to show their support. I ain't knocking that. But where that support for Yahweh Shai, who gave his life for the nation? Where that support when we on them corners? Where that support when we standing up against the beast, the red dragon, and saying, look, we ain't gonna take it no more. We know what it is. We know who we are. And this is what we about to do. Right? Yahweh Shai said, don't forget to follow me. Think you forgetting. Oh, yeah, I know you're an Israelite now. You found out. I know you got fringes now. You got a beard. You got a dress on. Got a head wrap. You look the part. He said, but are you following me? Are you doing what I did? Are you willing to sacrifice what I was willing to sacrifice? For real. Because we always want to talk about the hustle. But what your spiritual hustle look like? Huh? What your spiritual bag look like? Is your spiritual bag empty? What your spiritual drip look like? It's a whole lot of y'all got thirsty necks out there on the spiritual level. I'm just keeping it real. Anybody say am I wrong? Telling you, we still so carnal, it's ridiculous. But go ahead and read.
Verse 59. And he said unto another, follow me. But he said, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father.
So this man said, look, hey, all right, I'm going to get with you, but let me go bury my father first. I know I'm with it. Man, I'm with it. I know it's important. Let me go bury my father first, though. But read.
Yahweh Shai said unto him, let the dead bury the dead.
Woo! Let the dead bury their dead. What is he talking about? Go ahead.
But go thou and preach the kingdom of the Most High.
He said, but I want you to go and preach the kingdom of the Most High. What is he saying? What is he saying? Now, we got it in the scriptures where you got many Israelites, righteous Israelites, that observed the burials of their loved ones, observed the burials of their fathers, and mourned, and even kept close watch over the bodies, to the point when our people left up out of Egypt, they literally took the bodies up out of Egypt and took them to a different destination to rest. So what is he saying? He's saying this. We be more concerned about the world and what's going on outside of those that are repentant, those that are putting their hands to the plow, those that are saying, all right, this is what the work is, for better or for worse. I had a conversation with my cousin, and it was crazy after this whole, the thing that happened with the unfortunate thing that happened with Nipsey. He was like, look, man, he was genuinely concerned. You could hear it in his voice and in his spirit. He was like, man, and he know we Israel, right? He said, our people ain't gonna never get it. You wasting your time. He said, I don't want you to end up dead over these niggas. He said, they not gonna get it. You say blacks and Hispanics, they not gonna get it. He said, what you can do is, if anything, man, do it on the internet. But take yourself out of harm's way. And when he said it, I knew he was genuine. But the only thing that I could think of, it came right to my mind. That instance when Peter told Yahushua. And I just heard it in my head before I said, get thee behind me, Satan. I got to do this work. We got to do this work. It ain't pretty. It ain't fun all the time. But we make the best of it. That's what he's saying. He said, man, focus on this, on preaching this kingdom. All of that other stuff, man, let the dead bury the dead. You give your acknowledgement and you move on. You stay on the path. Go ahead.
Yahushua said unto him, let the dead bury their dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of the Most High. And another also said, Lord, I will follow thee, but let me first go and bid them farewell, which are at home at my house.
And one more thing, he said, let the dead bury their dead. He's making a differentiation. He said, ain't no disrespect to our fallen brother if he was a brother. I know he did a lot for the community. That's good. He said, but we got work we got to do. Don't forget that. Then you had somebody else that said, all right, well, let me bid them farewell. But watch this, read.
And Yahushua said unto him,
listen up.
No man, having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of the Most High.
Now, if that ain't heavy, I don't know what is. No man having put his hand to the plow. You already committed. He said you done committed. He said, don't look back. He said, remember Lot's wife. He said, it's a lot of work to be done. I don't need you looking back. Keep your hand to the plow if you're going to be fit for the kingdom. We do a whole lot of looking back. We got to stop looking back. We got to truly embrace this. Because a lot of us, we ain't truly embrace this right here. We say it all the time. We be playing, but it be so real. You want to talk about gang culture? This is righteous gang culture. And we make the corrections because sometimes we do get a little bit more tribal than we need to be. But that's what's in our DNA. Straight up. But this is who we are. And he said, you better be ready to ride when it's time to ride. And you better associate yourself with some real ones. While everybody trying to tell you, don't trust nobody, camps, blah, blah, blah. You better find somebody in this walk. And you better hold on fast. Because it's going to get real bumpy. Go from there. Go to Proverbs chapter 12. Boy, it feel good when you running a marathon and you got a partner. Partner give you a little bit of rest sometimes. Like you running for us for a minute. When you get tired, I got you. A lot of times we want to do everything by ourselves. Why do you think he tell the man, I'm going to give you some help? Most High said, I'm trying to give you some rest. Thing is, we so foolish, we don't understand that. We don't ever want to run in the same direction. Move, it's too hot. You all up on me. Crazy. He said, I did that for a reason, to give you some help. We all need help. He said, I'm going to be your help, but I'm going to give you help that's right there with you. And a lot of us, we decline. We don't want the help in a marriage and a relationship. We don't want the help of friends, and we don't want the help of a congregation. We don't want no kind of help. But we don't trust nobody. And we ain't even good friends. We talking about how much we don't trust everybody else. Who can trust us? We got to change, y'all. We got to change and we got to focus. Go ahead and read that. 12, 11, and 12.
Proverbs 12 and 11. He that tilleth his land shall be satisfied with bread.
He that tilleth his land shall be satisfied with bread, meaning what? You want this money? Then go till some land. Go work. Work. And we got to work on both. In the carnal, when you doing what you got to do to make your money, but we also got to work on a spiritual level too for this daily bread. Straight up. Got to need that dough. Absolutely. I'm telling you, a whole lot of us, we be on the sideline looking at everybody else eating their bread. Man, I like the way he eat that bread. Man, he cold-blooded with that bread. Look at him. We sitting back and watching everybody else hustle, but won't hustle ourselves. He said, man, you want to eat? You want to be able to do what he was doing and give back? Put your hands to the plow. It's a lot of work that needs to be done. But go ahead.
He that tilleth his land shall be satisfied with bread, but he that followeth vain persons is void of understanding.
A lot of times we get so caught up in following people that haven't got locked into repentance, right? And obviously with that, we lack understanding. We don't have an understanding of what's most important. We ain't laying our treasures up where they're going to be beneficial. You laying up treasures in vanity. What is that? All of the adoration and the love that you putting towards that, is it going to be reciprocated to you? Honestly. And like I said, it's okay to give some love and appreciation for things that you did get. But remember, within this community, I'm talking about the Israelite community, as much as we got all of the things that happen amongst us, a lot of good work is being done. It's a lot of eating that's happening. Because remember what Yahweh told Peter, he said, do what? If you love me, feed my sheep. We got to remember that. It's a lot of work being done. But we lose that understanding of what's important. And we start following after people that, like I said, it's not beneficial for us. And it ain't beneficial for our nation. Straight up. There's another thing that we got to realize too. I was hung up on this for a long time. I thought I could save everybody. Can't save everybody. Unfortunately, that was one of the things that I saw from a distance, dealing with the brother, dealing with a lot of others that have made similar mistakes, like even Pac. Pac spoke about the same stuff and fell victim to similar stuff, right? The whole point was you can't save everybody. Some people feel some kind of way about that. What you mean? Well, you ain't doing enough. Come see what I'm doing. Come grab my plow. See how much we doing. Just because we ain't putting it on Facebook and making videos of it like Drake, showing all of them bands he was giving to everybody, because you don't see it like that. You don't think that it's happening. You got a lot of brothers and sisters in this nation that's putting in work. And I'm not even just talking about just speaking the word, but I'm talking about putting their money where their mouth at. But all of that gets overlooked because it's sensationalized, and what we get is appealing to us, through the music and through the movies and through the videos and pop culture, rap, hip hop, all of that. Don't get caught up in the hype. Go ahead.
Verse 13. The wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips.
Let me get verse 12.
Verse 12. The wicked desireth the net of evil men.
See, the wicked desireth the net of evil men, meaning what? A lot of times you desire somebody's lifestyle, and a lot of people desire that net that they call the industry. That's a net. And you ain't in the right state of mind when you want that and you striving for that. Because that's a whole different beast. That's a whole different world. That's mob life, gang life, and everything else, sodomy and everything wrapped up into one on a whole nother level. But our people, they want that. Even in this truth, I hear people talking about it. Yeah, one day I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get a feature with something. Man, if you knew what was really going on, you wouldn't be desiring that net. Go ahead.
But the root of the righteous yieldeth fruit.
But the root of the righteous is gonna yield fruit. If we ain't yielding enough fruit, then it's a whole lot more watering and nurturing that's got to be done. All right. Go from there. Go to Romans chapter 1 and verse 25.
Book of Romans 1, verse 25.
Yep.
Who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie?
Go ahead.
And worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen.
Where they do that at? We get to a point we be so quick to worship the creation, the creature, more than we worshiping the Most High, the one who created. We can't get caught up into that. And I see that happening a lot. We worship men. And we're lovers of self. He said, don't forget, I'm the one that created you. Why you sitting up there putting them filters on your face and feeling like you the most beautifulest thing in the world? He said, well, who created you? Straight up. Idolizing that sister or that man that you see that's so phenomenally beautiful and handsome. Who created him? And who can send forth a vehicle and put them in a major accident and change their face forever? We be focused on the wrong thing, man. We want to worship the sun, but who created the sun? You want to worship the moon, but who created the moon? It's common sense, it would seem. Go from there. Go to the book of Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, Sirach. Chapter 7 and verse 16.
Sirach 7, verse 16. Number not thyself among the multitude of sinners, but remember that wrath will not tarry long.
A lot of times we still want to number ourselves amongst the sinners. Stop numbering yourself amongst the sinners. Set yourself apart. It's time to be different. It ain't time to be like the world no more. We ain't trying to blend in and conform. It's time for us to set the trends, for us to set the standards. You still trying to look, sisters, you still trying to look like all them females out there. They ain't hitting on nothing. Bunch of Tatianas. Quit trying to look like Tatiana. Quit trying to look like Cardi B. Quit trying to look like Beyonce. Brothers. I don't know who y'all trying to look like. Who? Morris Chestnut. Quit trying to be like all of them. We get caught up in these fashions and trying to be like, we ain't trying to be like them. We trying to be like us. It's time to set a new standard and a new trend. Straight up. That's what it is. That's the time that we in right now. We can't get caught up. And we've been getting caught up too much. Go from there. Go to the book of go to Psalms 127. But before you that, stay in Ecclesiastes though. Get 20 and 9. 20 and 9.
Ecclesiastes 20, verse 9.
Uh-huh.
There is a sinner that hath good success in evil things.
So the Bible says there is a sinner that has good success in evil things. I'm going to give you a great example of that. A whole lot of this hip hop culture, period. Straight up. They have good success in speaking about evils that they people are doing. Right? Glorifying a lot of the garbage that our people are doing towards one another. Self-destruction. Right? Go ahead.
There is a sinner that hath good success in evil things,
and
there is a gain that turneth to loss.
But there's also a gain that they get that ends up being a loss. It's sad. Like when I look at that situation, it's sad that brothers, you know, and like I said, I don't know the details, but brothers lose their lives still having certain affiliations and being caught up in certain stuff. You know, and I'm not arguing whether or not it was this or that. But there's definitely what I know according to this Bible, there's a necessity for us to make a separation when we come into the knowledge of who we are as a people. We got to separate from that world, right? And when you don't separate, what happens is that gain that we perceive that we got all of a sudden becomes a loss. We lose a lot of good ones because they 1 foot in and 1 foot out. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You can't be lukewarm, or else what? He said, I'll spit you out. He said, I'd rather you be hot or cold. Most High said, I'd rather you go hard in this truth and be righteous as you can be, or I'd rather you be one of the most crooked son of a guns out there. He said, but don't be trying to be both. He said, I don't like that. He said, because at least if you was real with your crookedness, if you ever decide to get right, then I can use you. You can take that same stuff that you applied in that world and apply it for righteousness, and I can use you. But the ones with 1 foot in and 1 foot out, then those are the ones that are good material for informants. He said, I don't need you. I can't trust you. You're a hypocrite. How many of y'all feel the same way? I'd rather you one way or another. Let me know where you stand. But when you straddle in the fence, you got to get away from me because I can't trust you. And that's how the Most High feel. But go ahead. Was that all of that?
That was it.
Go from there. Go to Psalms 127. I want 1 and 2.
Book of Psalms 127, verse 1. Except the Lord built the house, they labor in vain that build it.
See, that's the thing. A lot of folks, oh yeah, they building, he was doing this, he was doing that. But one thing that we got to remember as a people, even with everything that he built up, that other people are building up for the Israelite community, we got to remember, if the Most High ain't in it, it's going to come to naught. Straight up. We have to acknowledge the Creator. We got to acknowledge the God of this Bible. And we got to make him the center of everything that we do. Go ahead.
The watchman waketh but in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows. For so he giveth his beloved sleep. So he said, man, you can watch, you can build, but you can get up early. He said, all of that don't matter. He said, if you ain't building according to my model, according to this law, he said, then it's going to come to naught. That's the thing, man. Kudos to brothers and sisters out there that's making things happen within the community. I always remember, I think the book of James chapter 2, he said, you can't just tell somebody be filled. He said, you got to give them the things that they are in need of. I get that. But he said, all of that doesn't matter if you don't have the Most High at the center. And if you ain't got repentance as the primary focus, all of that don't matter because it's going to fall. Go from there. Go to Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 17 and 18. Y'all all right? Y'all falling asleep? You know it's a Sabbath. Don't tell no stories. Book of Lamentations 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet fail for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
And that happens too, man, because I even hear the brother was, hooking up, making peace with the police, trying to figure some things out, trying to find a way to tackle, violence within the LA area. And, it's a good thing in one respect, but the thing that our people have to understand going forward, we got to learn, from different mistakes and listen to what the Bible tells us. We have to follow this model. This is the only thing that's going to work for us. Nah, brother, y'all with that Bible and blah, blah, blah. No, everything else has not worked. This is the only thing that has worked. And this is the only thing that's going to work. We want our people to end and cease the violence. Then we got to build on this front, and we got to begin to be voices within our community. We got to be the ones to step up and say enough is enough. Because we've been asking our oppressors for the longest to step up on our behalf, and they have done a poor job. And they continue to play the game, and they feel great as long as you feel like you got to come to them. They'll do a press conference and make it seem like it's all important and oh yeah, and big up you and this and that. But they ain't gonna do nothing to change your community. Because if they did want to change your community would mirror their communities. Our communities are nothing like their communities. They don't police the same in their communities as they do in our communities. We are not given the same resources, right? What you expect from a people that's literally being set up to fail from generation to generation? What you expect out of us? White folks, they ain't going through the same hell that so-called blacks and Latinos that we go through. Anytime you look into a ghetto, you're going to see us. And even when they start gentrifying, and you see them starting to come back, when they walk in your neighborhood, they walk around with, they don't have a concern in the world. Yeah, they don't have a concern in the world. Sitting up here, I'm like, man, I know I need to exercise, but it's hot over here. I might get shot. Man, straight up. I got to teach my kids. I got sons, man. I'm teaching him now. Like, all right, this is what gangs is. This is what Bloods and Crips is. And I got to teach him and prepare him. They don't have to worry about that. They don't have to worry about that. Ain't nobody going to pull up to either might be like, where you from, cuz? It's not happening. It's not happening. But we got to worry about our own, and we got to worry about Esau. Straight up. Vain help. And that was the thing, man. They was looking to try to get help. Like, nah. Look to the Israelite community for help. And let's follow this Bible. That's the help that we need. The help of the Most High, Yahweh Shai. Read on.
They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets.
Now, mind you, a lot of people never make that correlation. He said the same people that we asking for help are the same people that hunt us. Same people that hunt us. And it's sad. Some people don't want you speaking like this, but it's true. Brother got slain, and they looking to get another one. They like, this is a 2-for-1. They'll play the game and be like, oh, yeah, we lost a great one and blah, blah, blah. You can care less. White folks, I'll be seeing it on the news. They be like, yeah, sad, blah, blah, blah. But to something more upbeat. And then they go into the next thing like, But they don't do that like when one of theirs die. Elvis Presley or something, they mourn for the whole couple of weeks. Somebody of theirs died and they don't just switch. But it's just a nigga like Nipsey Hussle just dead all of a sudden. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. But in other news, yeah, look at this dog. He's so adorable. Like these white folks, these devils don't give a doggone about us. And you be a fool to believe. You better just play the game. Oh yeah, cool. All right, cool. It's cool. But I ain't dumb enough to believe that you really got my best interest at heart. But our people really do believe that. And we still looking to them for help. Go ahead.
They hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven.
That's all I need. I know it's going to death, but we look into the wrong place, man. We got to look within ourselves and then look towards the Most High. Go from there. Go to the book of Jeremiah chapter 46. Jeremiah chapter 46, and I want 11 and 12.
Jeremiah 46, verse 11.
Yep.
Go up into Gilead and take balm, O virgin, the daughter of Egypt. In vain shalt thou use many medicines.
He said, in what?
In vain shalt thou use many medicines.
In vain shall you use many medicines. Where does this correlate? Why am I bringing this out? We talking about the medical industry, pharmaceutical, big pharma. I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about. We are finally getting something that we once had. The knowledge of things that we can utilize to heal these things that Esau has told us can't be healed. We are starting to get that knowledge back on how to cure things like AIDS and cancer and all these various different things that are supposed to be uncurable. But the thing that our people don't understand is, Dr. Sebi, right? Those things are still secondary. The first thing that you need is who? He said, you come to me first, and then I'll work through the hands of the physician. And I'll work through the various different herbs that you utilize as medicine. Then you can be whole, because another thing is you may be able to physically make yourself whole, but if you're not spiritually whole, then what does it matter? That's the thing. Everybody's getting kind of excited because that's being restored to us. But he says, read that one more time.
Go up into Gilead and take balm, O virgin, the daughter of Egypt. In vain shalt thou use many medicines, for thou shalt not be cured.
He said, you shall not be cured, meaning what? Not necessarily physically, but you're not going to be cured from what you really need to be cured from. You're still in a sinful mind state. You're still marked. He said that's supposed to be something that you take and say, all praise be to the Most High. He's giving us these things now because things are going to get even worse. Imagine what's going to happen when things really get bad and you can't go to Kaiser. You can't go because a lot of us, we got bad teeth and all kind of stuff. Got diabetes, and we are in need. I need this, I need that. He said, well, I got some stuff for you naturally, right? He said, but all of that ain't gonna matter if you don't understand the number one thing, which is I'm the one that heals. You need me first. So he says, and you shall not be cured. He means I'm not going to cure you of what's plaguing the nation. Go ahead.
The nations have heard of thy shame, and thy cry hath filled the land. For the mighty man hath stumbled against the mighty, and they are fallen both together.
He said, look, that's what's happening. The mighty is stumbling into the mighty, meaning what? You got big name people who are mighty, and they're stumbling into others that are mighty, and it's all falling down because it's not being done with what? With the Most High as the focus. It's time for us. I'm looking at it like this. This is a gift. And it's crazy because in the Israelite community, we're starting to slowly but surely accept these things and utilize these things because there's many others out there that are doing the exact same thing. But why aren't we starting to learn those things that are necessary for us to learn in order to bring that type of healing back to the nation? That's the Most High saying, look, stop looking to try to go against your enemies and all of that and disrupt. Because again, what I had to learn, everybody ain't going to be saved. Am I right or wrong? You can't save everybody. He said, but start applying yourself and taking this, getting this knowledge and healing the nation, healing that 1/3, healing those that want to do right. Go from there. Go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2, verse 21.
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2, verse 21.
Yeah.
For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom.
So now listen up. Listen closely. There's a man whose labor is in wisdom. Go ahead.
And in knowledge.
And in knowledge. Go ahead.
And in equity.
And in equity. How we should be treating one another, right? Doing for one another. Read.
Yet to a man that hath not labored therein shall he leave it for his portion.
See, he's going to leave it to a man that has not labored in that and has not been cultivated and trained on how to take on such a responsibility, how to take on this legacy and take it to the next generation or abound and take it to another level. Go ahead and read.
This also is vanity and a great evil.
He said this is not only vanity, meaning it amounts to nothing. It's useless. But he says it's also a great evil. Why is this such a great evil? Because this happens all the time amongst Israelites. And it's not what we used to be, but it's what we've become and what we got to stop being. I'm going to explain. You got people that work tirelessly to bring forth some type of legacy, only to give it to those that don't care about furthering that legacy, don't care about maintaining that legacy, don't understand the importance of that legacy. So just like that brother Nipsey, out of all of the stuff that he's done, I guarantee many of those that he had done for, how many of them will actually be able to take what he built and continue to hustle in what he was doing and further that legacy and be able to give it to the next generation and preserve it? See, a lot of our people, they don't understand, because I hear people, oh man, that brother did way more than what we do in the Israelites. One thing that you got to understand, I'll slow your roll. I'm going to tell you why. Because what's always going to be better than me handing you $100 million is going to be able to teach you what it means, what type of responsibility that you have in having that type of money, and how to be smart, and what you can actually do with it. I need to equip you. I need to educate you first and foremost. That's one of the things that our people don't understand and they don't value. When we going out on them street corners, you're getting educated. In these classes, like right here, a lot of stuff you probably like, man, I can't wait till it's over. But it's seeds being planted. Things that you're learning that you don't realize that you're learning. These kids that are in here, stuff is falling into their subconscious, right? Because it's nothing worse. We see it all the time among so-called Latinos and blacks, where you got parents that work all of their lives to leave a legacy, and those children blow it, and it ends right back into our enemy's hands. A slow grind is better than what? No grind. I know, because I know a lot of people look at the Israelite community, bunch of jakes, this poor, ain't got nothing, in bad health. How they gonna be talking about this and talking about that, and they ain't got their own stuff taken care of? It's a slow grind. Because we learning too. We having reality checks too. But I guarantee once the Most High say, okay, you ready for this? Here go 100K. Here go a meal. Here go 10 mil. I guarantee when that kind of stuff drop into our hands, then we're going to be prepared. Know that. Go ahead, Doc. Absolutely.
Real quick. No, I had one of my favorite quotes, and it says, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So Absolutely. I'll go exactly with what you're saying. I was just thinking about it, so I just want to share that.
Man, that's one of my favorite proverbs right there too. And that's what we got to do. Because mind you, and I hear the brother was teaching people to fish too, but that's what we're doing. We're teaching our people to fish. I don't want you eating for a day. I want you eating for a lifetime. And I want you to know how to get it so you can teach the next generation to get it too. We got to remember that, because a lot of times too, we look within ourselves and we don't think we're doing enough. We begin to devalue what is happening within us. I know for one, when you look at leadership, a lot of times people don't understand. Now I know. Now I know. It ain't easy, man. It takes a lot of you. I understand, with Moses and his father-in-law, it takes a lot of you. You know what I mean? And all praise be to the Most High, man. It's a great work that's still being done within the nation of Israel. I know sometimes it feel like we stagnant. Sometimes it feel like ain't nothing moving, but a whole lot more is moving than what you realize. And it ain't easy, because we doing what? Are we running a sprint? We running a what? We running a marathon. Straight up. Go from there. Go to the book of, we finished that, right? That was all. I just need 21. And I know we started late. Go to Isaiah chapter 49. Isaiah 49, start at verse 5.
Isaiah 49, verse 5. And now saith the Lord, that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him. Though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of the Lord, and my powers shall be my strength.
Go ahead.
And he said, it is a light thing.
It is a what?
It is a light thing.
A what?
A light thing.
A light thing. We be looking at it like it's just the hardest thing in the world. He said it's a light thing. That's light work. To what?
That thou shouldest be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob.
To be his servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob. We still got a whole lot of work to do. Straight up. He said, but it's a light thing. It ain't like something like this super heavy and like, oh, you asked too much of me. He said, I'm not telling you to go and get crucified and let them whip you with a cat of nine tails and be spit on and carry a big old tree on your back. He said, and then get hung up with nails thrust through your limbs. He said, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm not asking you. He said, all I'm asking you to do is go out there and teach this word. Preach this gospel. Tell somebody what it really is, that they've been lied to. He said, that's a light thing, that you be my servant. because you never knew what it meant to serve the Most High until you came into this truth. In most of them bootleg churches, you wasn't doing no real servitude. It was a free-for-all. Now you really got to serve. He said it's work that got to be done. He said, don't get brand new on me all of a sudden. He said it's a light thing. Go ahead.
I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth.
Go from there. Go to the book. You know what? Keep going.
Thus saith the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel and his Holy One, to him whom man despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because of the Lord that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee.
He said he gonna choose you. You gotta remember, man, you chosen. Many are called, but few are chosen. We amongst them chosen few. At least you chose for the moment. Some of y'all might not continue to be chosen. You might decide to leave, to depart. But when he say many are called, the many that's called is the whole nation. He said it's a whole bunch of Israelites. He said, I'm calling you from all over the four corners of this earth. He said, but it's only going to be a few of y'all that's actually going to be chosen. That's what he's talking about. But go ahead and read.
Thus saith the Lord, in an acceptable time have I heard thee, and in a day of salvation have I helped thee, and I will preserve thee and give thee for a covenant of the people, to establish the earth, to cause to inherit the desolate heritages.
Go ahead.
That thou mayest say to the prisoners, go forth.
We got to speak to the prisoners. We got a whole lot of Israel that's locked up in cages right now. It's easy for us to forget that because we ain't in the cage with them. We got a little bit of freedom out here. But it's a whole lot of our brothers and sisters just locked up, many unjustly. And if anything, a lot of them locked up, even for the ones that committed some crimes, they've been put away a whole lot longer than what they should be, serving for the little crimes that they did. And definitely not at the hands of Esau, because Esau, he definitely stands in no moral place to be able to bring forth any kind of judgment upon our people. It ain't an Edomite on this earth that's worthy to bring forth judgment on Jacob, and that's real talk. Just based off of everything that your granddaddies and great-granddaddies did. Every last one of y'all shouldn't say a word. It shouldn't have anything to do with the affairs of our nation. And that's real talk. But we do realize that we're still in your world, and it is still your turn. So we play the game. Ain't that what Pac said? He said, play the game, nigga. We play the game in this white man's world. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, in an acceptable time have I heard thee, and in a day of salvation have I helped thee. And I will preserve thee and give thee for a covenant of the people, to establish the earth, to cause to inherit the desolate heritages, that thou mayest say to the prisoners, go forth. To them that are in darkness, show yourselves. They shall feed in the ways, and their pastors shall be in all high places.
Go ahead.
They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun smite them. For he that hath mercy on them shall lead them. Even by the springs of water shall he guide them.
He said that's what we got to do. We got to actually feed them, guide them, lead them to the springs of water. Get Jeremiah chapter 3. And I want 12 through 16 real quick. That's what we got to be on.
Jeremiah 3 and 12. Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, return, thou backsliding Israel, saith the Lord, and I will not cause my anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, saith the Lord, and I will not keep anger forever.
He said, I just want you to go and teach this word. He said, and I have some mercy on you. But a whole lot of us, man, we don't want to teach this word. We done got the little bit of knowledge that we got, and we feel like everybody else gonna get it when they get it, if they get it. How selfish can we be? For real. Think about that. How selfish can we be when we are not going above and beyond to try to tell somebody else the good news? But go ahead. 13.
Only acknowledge thine iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against the Lord thy power.
Go ahead.
And hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree. And ye have not obeyed my voice, saith the Most High.
Go ahead.
Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord. For I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion.
See, that's that thing right there. A lot of times we want to try to rescue all Israel. And he said, no. He said, I'm going to take you one of a city. One of a city. He said it might be a little bit more than that. It might be two of a family. He said, but make no mistake, I ain't coming to save everybody. Israelites, all y'all do is care about Israelites. Yeah, that's all we care about. What you think? Anybody that got any kind of common sense is going to take care of their children, right? You're going to go and feed the next household, but don't feed your own. You're going to make sure other people's kids is fed, but your kids is hungry. Huh? You're going to buy some other kids the best, newest designer wear and have them looking fly and then put your kids in some sackcloth? Huh? All right. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to focus on us. Go ahead.
And I will give you pastors according to mine heart.
He said, and I'm going to give you those that's going to watch over you and going to feed you. And I'm going to give you those after my own heart, after my own mind. Read.
Which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
They're going to feed you with knowledge and understanding. Not all of that garbage that you're hearing on music, on radio and all of that crap. So they actually going to give you some substance. They're going to give you more than... I know some of y'all like that. Give me some more sound effects. I know y'all know. Give me some sound effects. What they be saying? He said they're going to give you more than that. They're going to give you more than mumble rap. Go ahead.
Verse 16. And it shall come to pass when ye be multiplied and increased in the land.
Now that's cold right there. You got to listen. You got to pay attention to these scripts. He said you're going to start off as one of a city, two of a family. But he said, I'm going to take that few, and that's what I want to multiply. He said, I don't need a whole lot to start off with. I don't need the whole nation. I just need the best of the best. I need those that's really down, that's really riding with me. He said, I need the truest of the true. I need the righteous. He said, and I'm going to take them and I'm going to multiply them. That's what I want. Don't forget that.
For real? Somebody in the back? For real? Somebody moving a car.
Okay, make sure you're good out there. Yeah, all right. That was all I needed from that. We about to end it up.
You want to finish it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Did we finish it or not?
We pretty much finished it up. Give me 1 Corinthians chapter 9. We'll end off on this. First Corinthians chapter 9 and start at verse 9.
Book of 1 Corinthians 9, verse 9. For it is written in the law of Moses, thou shalt not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treadeth out the corn. Doth the Most High take care of for oxen?
He said, thou shalt not muzzle the ox. He said, the ox is the one that's doing the work, right? He said, well, then that ox should be able to eat. He should be able to enjoy some of the fruits of his labor. Go ahead.
Or saith, he it altogether for our sakes. For our sakes, no doubt, this is written, that he that ploweth should plow in hope, and that he that thresheth in hope should be partaker of his hope.
So what is it saying? When you putting in these works, you ought to have hope that you're gonna get a reward for it, that you're gonna be able to get what you need in order to be fulfilled, to get the nourishment that's needed, versus you working and you knowing somebody letting you know, even though you working this hard for me, you ain't getting nothing. Don't expect nothing. How many of y'all would continue to work if you knew that that was the case? How many of y'all would get up and be on time every single day to work if you knew for a fact they told you, you know, you ain't getting no paycheck? Not one. He said, so even in this, man, we got to make sure that we don't muzzle the ox. Go ahead.
For if we have sown unto you spiritual things, it is a great thing if we shall reap your carnal things.
So this is Paul speaking. He said, look, he said, we sowing a whole lot spiritually in you. We don't have it like some of y'all got it. He said, look, Paul let it be known. He was like, I ain't got it like that. Because I don't have my own business. I don't have the means to work a job, but I work not 9 to 5. I work 24/7 putting in this work for the nation. He said, now, while you over there, man, you a business tycoon. You got it going on and you got the means. He said, I don't have that means. But he said, what I'm giving on a spiritual level and what others are giving on a spiritual level, you don't think that they're worthy to also reap of some of that you have? He said, that's only fair. Go ahead.
If others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather? Nevertheless, we have not used this power.
He said, but even with all of that, he said, we definitely are deserving, especially when you got more than what you need. He said it wouldn't be nothing for you to slide a little bit of something to us to sustain us and to make sure we good. Because we working, basically, they was working like the Levitical priesthood. And that's the same thing that's happening now in Israel. You got brothers that's putting in working leadership that's working like the Levitical priesthood. But it was set up for the Levitical priesthood. Everybody was paying a tenth, tithes. So they was going to be taken care of according to the law. During this time, it wasn't the Levitical priesthood. That had been suspended. There was no tithes being brought in. He said, so we are deserving, just like Levi and the sons of Aaron were deserving. He said, but we don't even exercise that power. Same thing in leadership today. He said, we ain't going to ask for your money because the first thing you're going to think of the bootleg church. They don't want nothing but our money. So here I am. We're going to kill ourselves doing the works of Israel and killing ourselves trying to make a living. To be blameless. Be careful when you say, because some brothers just don't know. You don't know, but I'm going to tell you today, there are people, even though you might not be working as much as you think you probably should work, there are a lot of people working in this nation. A lot of people working hard, tirelessly, day to day within this nation. Right or wrong? Go ahead.
Verse 12, if others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather? Nevertheless, we have not used this power, but suffer all things, lest we should hinder the gospel of Yahweh Shai.
He said, because we ain't trying to hinder the gospel. A lot of people ain't going to try to hear it because they feel some type of way, feel like, oh, they just trying to get our money. They don't do nothing. Go get their own money. And ain't looking at the bigger picture. Not looking at everything that you sacrificing. But go ahead and read.
Do ye not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple?
And that's what he's referencing. He's referencing the sons of Aaron. He said they was taken care of. He said, so how has it gotten to a point where we're not worthy to be taken care of either? That's what he's referencing. He said, just keep that in mind. But we ain't asking for nothing. If the people get it and they decide to, I got you. Then cool. But if you don't, we doing what we got to do. Most High will provide. He said, if he provide for the sparrow, he don't harvest, he don't plant seed. But he said, but he's still eating. He's taken care of. He said, you know, the Most High is going to provide for us because we better than the sparrow. But go ahead.
And they which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar. Even so hath the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel.
He said those that preach the gospel, we also got to live the gospel. We can't just preach, and you got a whole lot of people on Facebook preaching the gospel, but they ain't living the gospel. You got to live this. We got to be held accountable. And that's the same thing. It gets tough because we got spouses, and we got to tell our spouses, I'm going to be judged for what you do and what you don't do. Go ahead.
But I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things that it should be so done unto me. For it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glorying void.
He said it's better for me to die. Be like, man, Paul just gave up the ghost. He was too much. But when he was here, he did what he did. Versus somebody saying, man, Paul wasn't nothing but a moocher. That nigga that never worked, always looking for a handout. Paul was a low life. He said, I don't even want that because there'd be somebody that'll put that coat on me. He said, that's why I'll go from post to post and I'll be washing dishes while I'm in your city. Go ahead.
For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me.
He said, I ain't got nothing to glory of. He said, the Most High told me I gotta do this. We gotta be out there on the highways and byways. He said, but it ain't nothing to glory of, because that's the thing. Being a street preacher now with social media, it's like you getting fame. Yeah, you famous for the moment. You're gonna go from fame to infamous in a minute. And see how you like that. I guarantee it'll be a whole bunch more Peter moments. Not me. That wasn't me. Straight up. Because it's cool for the moment. Oh, yeah, that brother deep, man. He got fired, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then when they come and check your Hebrew Israelite card, we're gonna see where your vibrato at. Go ahead.
Woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel.
For
if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me.
He said, then it's only for a limited time. He said, don't preach this gospel and be like every day, like, dang, man, I could be doing something better. He said, because it's only going to be a dispensation of time where you're going to have that spirit, then it's going to be taken away from you. He said, you better preach this thing and love every moment of it. Find joy in it. He said, because that's how you're going to endure to the end. Go ahead. This is going to be the last one we read. Go ahead.
What is my reward then? Verily that, when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Christ without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel.
He said, that's my reward, to know that I've been blameless. That I'm putting the word out there. I ain't charged nobody. And I did my part. That's my reward. Go ahead.
For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more.
He said, it might seem like I'm free, seem like I ain't got no job, and I just do whatever the heck I want. But he said, I done made myself a servant to everybody. He said, the rulers and the kings, those are the biggest servants. Go ahead.
And unto the Jews I became a Jew, as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews.
Go ahead.
To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law.
Go ahead.
To them that are without law, as without law, being not without law to the Most High, but under the law of Christ, that I might gain them that are without law.
Go ahead.
To the weak I became as weak, that I might gain the weak. I have made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. You
see that? He said, I became what I had to become. Sometimes I got to talk like the ones out there in them streets so I can be relatable. And he said, but I'm talking about this gospel. He said, I become all things to all men. Man, Dom, that's a cool dude. I thought y'all was different. Nah. We come from the same place you come from, and we ain't far removed. We still living in this hood. Still working 9 to 5, struggling, paycheck to paycheck, just like everybody else. I can flip it. I can speak the King's English, as they say, and then I can speak Ebonics quite well when I need to. right? That's what's necessary to do what? Same thing with this music. When you hear some of this music, don't get too surprised. You're going to hear relatability in some of the music. You got to be careful with it, but you're going to hear some relatability. Why? How did you feel when you was listening to that bootleg Christian garbage? Christian rap. It never kind of really took off. Go ahead.
And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you.
Go ahead.
Know ye not that they which run in a race run all?
What?
Know ye not that they which run in a race run all?
But what?
But one receiveth the prize?
Everybody running, but only one gonna receive the prize. Everybody can't win. Go ahead.
So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things.
Go ahead.
Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown. But we an incorruptible.
We looking for an incorruptible crown. We ain't looking for street cred. We ain't looking for a name within the hood and within the hip hop community. We looking for, hey, look, and I tell people this all the time, man. Kids, a lot of kids, they don't know who Pac is. You couldn't tell me that our kids wouldn't know who Pac is, but our kids feel like the Migos is like the best rappers of all time. Straight up. But I'm gonna tell you who everybody always hear about. They always hear about Moses. They always hear about Yahushua. The whole world. He said, I'd rather be in that conversation. Go ahead.
I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be as a castaway.
So he said, look, man, I got to make sure I'm on point, because I don't want to teach something to you and preach to you, and then it's unprofitable for me. All of that being said, man, the marathon continues, man. It didn't stop. We continue on this marathon. We better make sure that we continue to run this race. All right. How many of y'all are still willing to run? All right, for sure. All praise be to the Most High. All praise be to the Most High. Yahushua. Any announcements?
For congregants, General Assembly tomorrow, 11 a.m. What else do we have to?